this is David, and I wanted to do a video. My father was a pedophile, and my mother was a whore. I really have some good genes, and I have some good heritage. I want to be honest, I want to be straightforward, and I want to talk about the principle today of honoring our father and our mothers, that our days upon the earth will be long. There's several scriptures. There's some in the Quran, there's some in Buddhism, there's some in Hindu, some in the King James Version, and also the Bible, and some in the Urantia book. Here's what I want to share with you. For many, many years, my mother was a bitch to me. Basically, I was divorced, and she always sided with my ex-wives, and she always made my life miserable. Sometimes we only lived a half a mile apart, and my children would come all the way out of state to visit my mother, and she would never tell me that they were there. She would never invite me over. She would never say to the children or the ex-wife, gee, David is 15 minutes away. He's the father. Can he come over and see the children? She basically didn't do that. And I held very hard feelings against her for many, many years because of that. And then when she was dying in Ojai, California, in a nursing home, she called me and said, I'm dying, would you come and visit me? And I took my family and went there and visited her, was kind to her, was attentive, etc. Well, I left. And then about 2 months later, 3 months later, she said, I'm really dying. Could you come, and would you come to my funeral? And I said, no, homie, don't play that game. I visited you, I honored you, I respected you, even though I didn't like the way you treated me. All the years of my children growing up, you withheld my children from me, just like my ex-wife did. But I didn't go to her funeral. Well, since her funeral, I found this out. One of my brothers, Paul Crossett, is illegitimate. I didn't know that. He always looked different than the rest of the Crossett children. He was shorter. He was a little, he wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. I've got brothers and sisters that are extremely bright. Paul was short, kind of stocky. Then he basically found out after my mother died, he ran a DNA test and found out that my father wasn't his father. Well, I don't know why my family can't control their penises and their vagina. So far, I've kept mine where it belongs in marriage. I've been married 7 times. So, you know, the little general has been up to the battle, but I've never molested a child. I've never had an affair. I reported once when I was at BYU. I got involved with one of the girls that I was the dance teacher at BYU, and Betty, I took home with me and dry fucked her on my wife's bed, and that was the worst thing I ever did in my whole life. And we got a divorce over that, and I haven't had any incidents since then for any infidelity whatsoever. And I want to make this video about how I felt. My mother had an affair, and you know, you don't usually get a pregnancy with one intercourse. That's highly unlikely, even though that does happen. I did have one wife that we did have intercourse only one time, Sandra, and Genevieve was born from that one intercourse. So it does happen, but not very often. So my mom was having an affair, and my brother Paul was conceived. And I didn't know about that till I was probably 75 years old, and my mother died. Well, I had hard feelings about my mom because of the divorce and withholding my children from me. And then when I found that out, I thought, good Lord, you know, all the time that I thought that she was the, quote, you know, a good girl from Reading, Massachusetts, she was, you know, fucking her brains out with somebody else rather than my father. And got pregnant, and my dad had to raise that child, Paul. And then I thought, well, gee, that side of my heritage sucks. Then I'll go to my father. Well, when I was at BYU, my father was caught molesting my sister Debbie. He was, quote, superintendent of the Sunday school back in those days, and a fanatical Mormon, absolutely fanatical Mormon. We had wheat grinders, and we had, whips to get us to family home evening. We had all kinds of craziness because my dad was crazy. Well, he ended up being a pedophile, and we reported that to the church. I reported it to 5 bishops. None of them did anything. They swept it all under the carpet. So my mom divorced him, and then he went to Colorado and married Fat Diana, and she had a stepdaughter, Dee Dee, and Beanie. What do you think? Yeah, Dee Dee. And Diana caught my dad and his stepdaughter, she was about 10 years old, down in the bathroom masturbating each other. And Dad said he was doing early morning seminary with his stepdaughter, and he always hid behind the Mormon church. He said he wasn't going to get excommunicated because he repented from my sister's molestation for years. And so he said, when you repent, the Lord erases everything. And the next time he did it with Deanie, basically it was his first time. There's the Mormon philosophy. There's the Mormon hiding pedophiles. So anyway, I found out later on that Dad never talked to me after I indicated to his wife that wasn't his first pedophile experience. He banned me and never talked to me again. How'd that hurt me? That only hurt him. Well, then I found out after I left Colorado, he went to Topeka, Kansas, and started a child care center. Well, I had to stand up again and say to the Topeka Child Protective Services, he's a pedophile. They finally canceled his license, and he lost that employment. So, why am I talking about my parents? Well, I'm giving you facts. I'm just giving you facts. My dad molested at least 2 or 3 girls that we know of, and there's rumors there were others in the community. And my mom had at least 1 illegitimate child, and who knows how many affairs. Well, Christ said in the gospel there, in the book of King James Version of the Bible and the Urantia book, honor your parents, that your days upon the earth will be long. Well, I had to wrestle with that, and I wrestled with it. I'm almost 80 years old. I got a birthday coming up here pretty quick, and I had to wrestle with it. I didn't want to honor my parents. They were pedophiles and whores. Well, I studied it, and I prayed about it, and my eternal wife, Genevieve, counseled me on it. We went to Buddhism, we went to Quran, we went to the King James, we went to the Urantia book, we went to Hindu. And they all basically indicate that we need to respect our parents, and we need to honor our parents. Several of the information pieces that we use said, if your parents are trying to make you do something that is unlawful, illegal, or immoral, you don't have to do that, but you're still supposed to be kind to them and respect them. When I was in the Philippines, when you came up to an elderly person, they would hold their hand out and put it on the forehead and honor the old people, honor old age and old people. Well, here's the thrust of my video. I had to wrestle a long time to learn forgiveness. I had to fight and fight and fight for revenge. I was embarrassed that my parents were less than moral. I have a son who molested his children. He's spending 5 to life in a state prison up in Idaho. He has an IQ of 146. He's autistic and a genius. And then I have a brother who lived in the Philippines illegally for 21 years. Randy Scott crossed that, and he constantly was having intercourse with 12-year-old girls and sisters at the same time. Well, I'm surrounded with that filth. I'm surrounded with that squalor, and I've been surrounded with that because of my family and the history and the facts and the background. So I had to wrestle a lot with, is any of this going to rub off on me? Is my reputation, my way of dealing with the public, my way of dealing with the world, is that reflective because I've got so many assholes in my family? And the answer was no, that I am my own person. I'm responsible for what I say. I'm responsible for what I do. And I'm not responsible for other people and the way they interact with the other carbon persons here. I believe strongly in Stoic philosophy. I can't control anybody. I can only control what I perceive in my mind. And I'm a big fan of Buddhism. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. And I'm a big fan of the Sermon on the Mount and the Ten Commandments. Honor thy father and thy mother. It's there. And it was hard for me to come up with enough forgiveness, enough kindness, enough love to say, well, they made their choice. They're going to have to be responsible for their behaviors, what they said, what they did, how they did it, how they hurt other people, and the lives that they lived. That doesn't affect me. That doesn't affect me. Through counseling and through Genevieve, my eternal wife, she's advised me and helped me to come to the understanding that the craziness of my family doesn't make me crazy. They're crazy. And of course, everybody says that, they're okay. The old book, I'm okay, you're okay. You don't remember that. But anyway, I want to do this at Christmas time because it is, today's, I think, the 6th or 7th, something like that, of December 2025. And I just want to go on record here that I forgive my parents. I forgive them. I know that I'm going to probably see them pretty quick after my container takes its last breath. I know that process of the first, whatever, minute, 2 minutes after we stop breathing, what we're going to do and how we're going to do it, where we're going to go. And there's a good chance they're going to show up. And I'm going to say to them, I love you. I'm going to put my arms around them and say, I forgive you. Christ said it very well on the cross. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. So that's an eternal principle, and I want to integrate that into my life. I want to know when I see them, they'll be younger, they'll be attractive, they'll be in their Montrovia bodies, and I'm going to put my arms around both of them and say, I love you. Thank you for changing my pants. Thank you for feeding me. Thank you for protecting me. Thank you for the dental work that you had done on me. Thank you for sending me to seminary. Thank you for the medical, dental, the necessities of life. You fucked up in other ways, and that's your fuck up, not mine. And I'm not going to judge you for that. That's up to you to judge yourselves on that. If you're happy with the way you conducted yourself in your rancher, good. It didn't hurt me, except at first it hurt me because my children were withheld from me because of my mother, and then my mother having an illegitimate son. Now I've got a bastard brother, and that's an old word. Anyway, I just want to say this. I have learned to forgive. I've learned to let it go. I've learned that they're responsible for what they did, what they said, how they interacted with other people, and any damage that they did to innocent people. I'm responsible for David. I'm responsible for David. The things I say, the things that I do, the way I interact with my wife, my friends, my orbit of people, I'm responsible for that. If I lie, I cheat, I steal, not transparent, then I suffer the consequences of that. There's no such thing as hell. That's bullshit. Again, I don't have the time to tell you all of the things that I have been privileged to receive from the other side of the veil. But I want you to know that if your parents have been shitty to you, if they have hurt you, if they lied, they cheated, they steal. Some of you have drug addicts for parents. Some of you have alcoholics. Some of you have pedophiles. Some of you have whores. Some of you have been beat up. Some of you have been abused in other ways, emotionally, sexually. Some of you have been neglected. You didn't have enough food. You didn't get the things that you needed. Well, the natural reaction for us as carbon people is to be angry, to be revengeful, to be hostile. That only hurts us. That only hurts us. And if you can't see that yet, so what? So what? I can see it, and I'm going to say it, and I'm going to bear testimony to it, that I have lived longer. Once I released that stress of hatred and revenge against my parents, I became younger. I became healthier. My body started to heal. Things that had been wrong with it for years and years and years started to go away. My balance and my breathing and blood pressure. I took blood pressure yesterday at 115 over 65 or something. It's been that way now ever since I let go of the hostility that I had. So if this helps you in any way, great. If it doesn't, throw it in the shitter. I don't care. I don't care. My job is to basically share the experiences that I've had. If it helps other people, then that makes me feel good. I'm on assignment. That is my assignment. These eternal principles of Christ, as I've worked with them, looked at them, and practiced them, I'm getting results. I'm getting results. He said, if you love me, feed my sheep. If you love me, feed my sheep. If you love me, feed my sheep. He knew carbon creatures. The first time he says it, they don't hear shit. The second time he says it, maybe 50% hear it. The third time he says it, maybe 80% hear his reckoning, feed my sheep. And he didn't mean just food. He meant emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, etc. Feed my sheep. So, I've learned to forgive my parents. Maybe your parents are worse. I guess some of you could have parents that are worse. My dad didn't drink, and neither of them drugged, and they were respected in the community. I didn't have parents that embarrassed me. They privately have embarrassed me over a lifetime, but not publicly. So anyway, if you're harboring ill feelings against your parents, I changed a lot of diapers, folks. I've got 14 carbon children. A baby will shit 2 or 3 times a day when they're really young. And, try to put food in their mouth. They spit it out. It goes all over the place. They throw shit off their high chairs. They fall out of their cribs. And, our parents did do something because we survived. We fucking survived. If our parents were totally benign, or not benign, belligerent, we would have not been talking to you. You wouldn't be looking at me. I wouldn't be looking at you. So there's some success of our parents. We survived. We probably had our ego damaged. We probably got several wounds that we have to heal with counseling, with prayer, and with working with the principles of Christ. But we survived. And if you want to thrive, live the principles of Jesus Christ. When we give, we get more than we can possibly imagine. When we help others, when we do the Good Samaritan, not just walking by like most people just walk by. They go, David, I'd like to donate to your website, but I forget and I'm not going to. And that's okay. You know what? It's okay. I haven't gotten one donation. Not one donation from any of you. I have a website called the onebowlofrice.org, onebowlofrice.org, and I've asked 2 or 3 videos begging for money for the hungry children in the Philippines, and none of you have sent me any money. That's okay. You know what? That's you. I was ordered by the Heavenly Father to set that website up. I was ordered to use my Social Security money and to pay for that website and to get it the PayPal and the Venmo and the Zelle on there. I was ordered to do that. You know what? I did it. I followed through. If you feel that these videos help at all, if you want to help some hungry children right now in the Philippines, donate to my website. If you don't, that doesn't hurt me. Doesn't hurt me at all. Because when you and I both die, the first 10 or 15 seconds after that last breath, our whole life appears. Everything we said, all of our intentions, what we did, and how we did it, appears. That is heaven. That is hell. I'm going to feel pretty comfortable. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to feel pretty comfortable. They said to put the website up. They said, David, if the people donate, they donate. If they don't, that's on them. That's on them. Those hungry children will continue to be hungry, and the principles of Christ, you did the best you could. You're on Social Security. You donate $100 roughly a month over there to the Filipino children, and these people won't even give you $10 or $20. Big deal. Big deal. So let me close this. If you want to live a happy life, forgive your parents. If you want to live a life of contentment, joy, satisfaction, peace, forgive your parents for the stupid shit that they did. Honor your parents. You don't have to buy drugs for them. You don't have to do illegal things, immoral things. But everything else, you and I need to do. You and I need to do. And so I forgive my mother and my father for the things that they did. Hopefully, my children will forgive me for things that I did, which are nowhere near like the things I've forgiven. But anyway, focus on Jesus Christ, the real Jesus Christ, not the Mormon Jesus Christ. He doesn't, other than his name on the building, that's as close to Jesus Christ as the Mormons get. Forgive. Let it go. Forget it. And when you get to the other side, you see your parents, put your arms around them and say, hey, thanks for changing my diapers. Thanks for feeding me. I survived, and you did the best probably you could. I forgive any other inadequacies that you had, because we all have inadequacies. We all have to repent and to improve every day. I pride myself on making mistakes once. I never make the same mistake twice, ever. Ever. Once, and then I learn. So I learn pretty quickly. A lot of humans don't. A lot of creatures, I did AA for years and years with teaching AA principles out of the big book, the blue book. And insanity is doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result. I don't live like that. If you do, that's your freedom. You have a right for your soul contract to repeat this over and over again until you get it, until I get it. So anyway, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I'm happy. I'm happy that I'm content with my parents. They did the best that they could. They were both total fuck-ups, but I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on the times that they fed me, they diapered me. I had a roof over my head, and I had food, medical and dental, and they couldn't keep control of their vaginas and their penises. That's a very common problem with our carbon people. So, Merry Christmas. I've got to get up now and shut my camera off because my remote knows if the remote works, which half the time it doesn't. Let me push the remote.